Welcome, dear friends, to the Crimson Academy's reading of The Advent of Divine Justice. In this section, we will be reading paragraphs 34 through 41. How great, therefore, how staggering the responsibility that must weigh upon the present generation of the American believers. At this early stage in their spiritual and administrative evolution, to weed out by every means in their power those faults, habits, and tendencies which they have inherited from their own nation, and to cultivate patiently and prayerfully those distinctive qualities and characteristics that are so indispensable to their effective participation in the great redemptive work of their faith. Incapable as yet, in view of the restricted size of their community and the limited influence it now wields, of producing any marked effect on the great mass of their countrymen, let them focus their attention, for the present, on their own selves, their own individual needs, their own personal deficiencies and weaknesses, ever mindful that every intensification of effort on their part will better equip them for the time when they will be called upon to eradicate in their turn such evil tendencies from the lives and the hearts of the entire body of their fellow citizens. Nor must they overlook the fact that the world order, whose basis they, as the advance guard of the future Baha'i generations of their countrymen, are now laboring to establish, can never be reared unless and until the generality of the people to which they belong has been already purged from the diverse ills, whether social or political, that now so severely afflict it. Surveying as a whole the most pressing needs of this community, attempting to estimate the more serious deficiencies by which it is being handicapped in the discharge of its task, and ever bearing in mind the nature of that still greater task with which it will be forced to wrestle in the future, I feel it my duty to lay special stress upon, and draw the special and urgent attention of the entire body of the American believers, be they young or old, white or colored, teachers or administrators, veterans or newcomers, to what I firmly believe are the essential requirements for the success of the tasks which are now claiming their undivided attention. Great as is the importance of fashioning the outward instruments and of perfecting the administrative agencies which they can utilize for the prosecution of their dual task under the 7-year plan, vital and urgent as are the campaigns which they are initiating, the schemes and projects which they are devising, and the funds which they are raising for the efficient conduct of both the teaching and temple work. The imponderable spiritual factors which are bound up with their own individual and inner lives, and with which are associated their human and social relationships, are no less urgent and vital, and demand constant scrutiny, continual self-examination, and heart-searching on their part, lest their value be impaired or their vital necessity be obscured or forgotten. Of these spiritual prerequisites of success, which constitute the bedrock on which the security of all teaching plans, temple projects, and financial schemes must ultimately rest, the following stand out as preeminent and vital, which the members of the American Baha'i community will do well to ponder. Upon the extent to which these basic requirements are met, and the manner in which the American believers fulfill them in their individual lives, administrative activities and social relationships must depend the measure of the manifold blessings which the all-bountiful possessor can vouchsafe to them all. These requirements are none other than a high sense of moral rectitude in their social and administrative activities, absolute chastity in their individual lives, and complete freedom from prejudice in their dealings with peoples of a different race, class, creed, or color. The first is specially, though not exclusively, directed to their elected representatives, whether local, regional, or national, who, in their capacity as the custodians and members of the nascent institutions of the faith of Baha'u'llah, are shouldering the chief responsibility in laying an unassailable foundation for that universal house of justice, which, as its title implies, is to be the exponent and guardian of that divine justice, which can alone ensure the security of and establish the reign of law and order in a strangely disordered world. The second is mainly and directly concerned with the Baha'i youth, who can contribute so decisively to the virility, the purity, and the driving force of the life of the Baha'i community, and upon whom must depend the future orientation of its destiny and the complete unfoldment of the potentialities with which God has endowed it. The third should be the immediate, the universal, and the chief concern of all and sundry members of the Baha'i community, of whatever age, rank, experience, class, or color, as all, with no exception, must face its challenging implications, and none can claim, however much he may have progressed along this line, to have completely discharged the stern responsibilities which it inculcates. A rectitude of conduct, an abiding sense of undeviating justice, unobscured by the demoralizing influences which a corruption-ridden political life so strikingly manifests. A chaste, pure, and holy life, unsullied and unclouded by the indecencies, the vices, the false standards which an inherently deficient moral code tolerates, perpetuates, and fosters. A fraternity freed from that cancerous growth of racial prejudice which is eating into the vitals of an already debilitated society. These are the ideals which the American believers must, from now on, individually and through concerted action, strive to promote in both their private and public lives, ideals which are the chief propelling forces that can most effectively accelerate the march of their institutions, plans, and enterprises that can guard the honor and integrity of their faith and subdue any obstacles that may confront it in the future. This rectitude of conduct, with its implications of justice, equity, truthfulness, honesty, fair-mindedness, reliability, and trustworthiness, must distinguish every phase of the life of the Baha'i community. The companions of God, Baha'u'llah himself has declared, are in this day the lump that must leaven the peoples of the world. They must show forth such trustworthiness, such truthfulness and perseverance, such deeds and character that all mankind may profit by their example. I swear by him who is the most great ocean, he again affirms, within the very breath of such souls as are pure and sanctified, far-reaching potentialities are hidden. So great are these potentialities that they exercise their influence upon all created things. He is the true servant of God, he in another passage has written, who in this day were he to pass through cities of silver and gold, would not deign to look upon them, and whose heart would remain pure and undefiled from whatever things can be seen in this world, be they its goods or its treasures. I swear by the Son of Truth, the breath of such a man is endowed with potency and his words with attraction. By him who shineth above the dayspring of sanctity, he still more emphatically has revealed, if the whole earth were to be converted into silver and gold, no man who can be said to have truly ascended into the heaven of faith and certitude would deign to regard it, much less to seize and keep it. They who dwell within the tabernacle of God and are established upon the seats of everlasting glory will refuse, though they be dying of hunger, to stretch their hands and seize unlawfully the property of their neighbor, however vile and worthless he may be. The purpose of the one true God in manifesting himself is to summon all mankind to truthfulness and sincerity, to piety and trustworthiness, to resignation and submissiveness to the will of God, to forbearance and kindliness, to uprightness and wisdom. His object is to array every man with the mantle of a saintly character, and to adorn him with the ornament of holy and goodly deeds. We have admonished all the loved ones of God, he insists, to take heed lest the hem of our sacred vesture be smirched with the mire of unlawful deeds, or be stained with the dust of reprehensible conduct. Cleave unto righteousness, O people of Baha, he thus exhorts them. This verily is the commandment which this wronged one hath given unto you, and the first choice of his unrestrained will for every one of you. A good character, he explains, is verily the best mantle for men from God. With it he adorneth the temple of his loved ones. By my life, the light of a good character surpasseth the light of the sun and the radiance thereof. One righteous act, he again has written, is endowed with a potency that can so elevate the dust as to cause it to pass beyond the heaven of heavens. It can tear every bond asunder, and hath the power to restore the force that hath spent itself and vanished. Be pure, O people of God, be pure. Be righteous, be righteous. Say, O people of God, that which can ensure the victory of him who is the eternal truth. His hosts and helpers on earth have been set down in the sacred books and scriptures, and are as clear and manifest as the sun. These hosts are such righteous deeds, such conduct and character, as are acceptable in his sight. Whoso ariseth in this day to aid our cause and summoneth to his assistance the hosts of a praiseworthy character and upright conduct, the influence from such an action will most certainly be diffused throughout the whole world. The betterment of the world, is yet another statement, can be accomplished through pure and goodly deeds, through commendable and seemly conduct. Be fair to yourselves and to others, he thus counselleth them, that the evidences of justice may be revealed through your deeds among our faithful servants. Equity, he also has written, is the most fundamental among human virtues. The evaluation of all things must needs depend upon it. And again, observe equity in your judgment, ye men of understanding heart. He that is unjust in his judgment is destitute of the characteristics that distinguish man's station. Beautify your tongues, O people, he further admonishes them, with truthfulness, and adorn your souls with the ornament of honesty. Beware, O people, that ye deal not treacherously with anyone. Be ye the trustees of God amongst his creatures, and the emblems of his generosity amidst his people. Let your eye be chaste, is yet another counsel. Your hand faithful, your tongue truthful, and your heart enlightened. Be an ornament to the countenance of truth, is yet another admonition. A crown to the brow of fidelity, a pillar of the temple of righteousness, a breath of life to the body of mankind, an ensign of the hosts of justice, a luminary above the horizon of virtue. Let truthfulness and courtesy be your adorning, is still another admonition. Suffer not yourselves to be deprived of the robe of forbearance and justice, that the sweet savors of holiness may be wafted from your hearts upon all created things. Say, beware, O people of Baha, lest ye walk in the ways of them whose words differ from their deeds. Strive that ye may be enabled to manifest to the peoples of the earth the signs of God, and to mirror forth his commandments. Let your acts be a guide unto all mankind, for the professions of most men, be they high or low, differ from their conduct. It is through your deeds that ye can distinguish yourselves from others. Through them, the brightness of your light can be shed upon the whole earth. Happy is the man that heedeth my counsel, and keepeth the precepts prescribed by him who is the all-knowing, the all-wise. O army of God, writes Abdu'l-Baha, through the protection and help vouchsafed by the blessed beauty, may my life be a sacrifice to his loved ones. Ye must conduct yourselves in such a manner that ye may stand out distinguished and brilliant as the sun among other souls. Should any one of you enter a city, he should become a center of attraction by reason of his sincerity, his faithfulness and love, his honesty and fidelity, his truthfulness and loving kindness towards all the peoples of the world, so that the people of that city may cry out and say, "This man is unquestionably a Baha'i, for his manners, his behavior, his conduct, his morals, his nature and disposition reflect the attributes of the Baha'is. Not until ye attain this station can ye be said to have been faithful to the covenant and testament of God." The most vital duty in this day, he moreover has written, is to purify your characters, to correct your manners, and improve your conduct. The beloved of the merciful must show forth such character and conduct among his creatures, that the fragrance of their holiness may be shed upon the whole world, and may quicken the dead, inasmuch as the purpose of the manifestation of God and the dawning of the limitless lights of the invisible is to educate the souls of men and refine the character of every living man. Truthfulness, he asserts, is the foundation of all human virtues. Without truthfulness, progress and success in all the worlds of God are impossible for any soul. When this holy attribute is established in man, all the divine qualities will also be acquired. Such a rectitude of conduct must manifest itself with ever-increasing potency in every verdict which the elected representatives of the Baha'i community, in whatever capacity they may find themselves, may be called upon to pronounce. It must be constantly reflected in the business dealings of all its members, in their domestic lives, in all manner of employment, and in any service they may in the future render their government or people. It must be exemplified in the conduct of all Baha'i electors when exercising their sacred rights and functions. It must characterize the attitude of every loyal believer towards non-acceptance of political posts, non-identification with political parties, non-participation in political controversies, and non-membership in political organizations and ecclesiastical institutions. It must reveal itself in the uncompromising adherence of all, whether young or old, to the clearly enunciated and fundamental principles laid down by Abdu'l-Baha in his addresses and to the laws and ordinances revealed by Baha'u'llah in his most holy book. It must be demonstrated in the impartiality of every defender of the faith against its enemies, in his fair-mindedness, in recognizing any merits that enemy may possess, and in his honesty in discharging any obligations he may have towards him. It must constitute the brightest ornament of the life, the pursuits, the exertions, and the utterances of every Baha'i teacher, whether laboring at home or abroad, whether in the front ranks of the teaching force or occupying a less active and responsible position. It must be made the hallmark of that numerically small, yet intensely dynamic and highly responsible body of the elected national representatives of every Baha'i community, which constitutes the sustaining pillar and the sole instrument for the election in every community of that universal house whose very name and title as ordained by Baha'u'llah symbolizes that rectitude of conduct which is its highest mission to safeguard and enforce.